Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about one of the most underrated but crucial things on Linux, swap. Have you heard that if you have a lot of RAM, you don't need it? Have you heard you should disable it? Forget about it. Let me explain how things really work. Swap is space on your disk or compressed RAM that the system uses to move rarely used data, freeing up real RAM for what you actually need. Even if you have 32 or 64 gigs of RAM, swap is still useful. Why? Because Linux is smart. If swap exists, it can move sleeping files away, keeping your fast RAM ready for active apps. If you don't have swap, when you run out of RAM, only one thing happens. The OOM killer wakes up and starts killing programs randomly. No warning, no mercy. When should you use swap? Almost always. How to use it properly? First, create a swap partition or swap file. It doesn't need to be huge. The old rule of double your RAM is outdated. Just make it reasonable for your workload. Then, tweak two key parameters. Swappiness equals 10, cache pressure equals 50. Swappiness controls how aggressively Linux uses swap. Setting it to 10 tells the system, use RAM as much as possible, then swap only if really necessary. Cache pressure controls how aggressively the system clears file and directory caches. 50 is a good balance. And if you want even more, you can use ZRAM, a compressed block of RAM that acts like ultra-fast swap. It's ideal for laptops, home servers, and low RAM devices. With ZRAM, there's no writing to disk. Compressed data stays in RAM. Faster, less SSD wear. ZRAM uses a bit of CPU, but nothing dramatic. When should you not use swap? If you have ultra-stable servers, predictable workloads, tons of free RAM, and you absolutely don't want even the slightest risk of swap-induced slowdowns, you can disable it. In that case, I suggest not removing swap completely, but setting swappiness equals 0. This way the system will keep everything in RAM and only use swap as a last resort before killing processes. But be careful, without swap, the risk is real. If the load changes, if you get a sudden spike, the system can crash with no warning. In short, swap, yes, almost always. Configure it properly. If you want maximum efficiency, use ZRAM. If you know exactly what you're doing, you can disable swap. But it's not for everyone. Swap is like insurance. You hope you won't need it, but when you do, it saves your life. If you want your Linux to be stable, smooth, and ready for anything, swap must be planned and configured, not ignored. Thanks for watching, and as always, long live free software, long live open source, and long live to swap.